common ground beneath our hearts. Well, eventually they'll quiet down. Okay, guys. Try it again. Hello, everyone. Oh, it's so great to see everybody. I'm Barbara Rohr, a longtime member of this church, and I will be your worship associate this morning. Welcome to the new year. It's so good to see some people here in the sanctuary, as our leader for today's service, Bob Lamb, says, the morning after. And welcome to those of you who are joining us via Zoom or watching us on some future day, in some future year, or again, as Bob says, possibly on some different planet. Who knows the future? We are Heritage Universalist Unitarian Church. Our minister is the Reverend Bill Gupton, who is on his winter break. Bob will lead us in today's service, talking about his long, strange trip from the past to the present, with Finn Palmer taking us into the future. If you're here for the first time, I extend a particularly warm welcome to you. We're glad to have you here. If you haven't signed our guest book when you came in, please do so at the end of the service. And if you're joining us via Zoom, please sign our virtual guest book. You will find the link in chat. Julie Kane is our official greeter this morning. Hopefully you've already met her as you came into the building. She is available after the service to speak further with any of you who have any questions about our church. We are a vibrant community with many opportunities to engage with one another outside of Sunday morning. You can read about those opportunities on the back of today's order of service, or go to our website, huuc.net, where you can learn even more. I want to call your attention to one announcement in particular regarding next Sunday's service. One of our newer members, Dr. Dave Steffen, will be inviting the congregation to reflect on and create personal well-being projects. Excuse me. In preparation for that service, he is asking us to complete an exercise ahead of time. You can find more information and a link to the full details. Again, it's on the order of service. So you can fully participate in next week's service. I think there are no other announcements, and I thank Bob for lighting the beginning candle. And I will now step back so we can hear our bell, and we're going to invite Livy up to light our candle. Where is it?
Thank you, Liberty. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
I'd like to start by reaffirming our covenant. And want to look up and say, hello, people on Zoom. I'm so happy you're here. You may well outnumber the people in the sanctuary, but that's okay. That's wonderful, in fact. If you could rise in body or spirit, as you are willing and able, and join with me in our covenant. By this covenant, we affirm that love is the spirit of this church. The quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, to serve humankind in fellowship, to the end that all souls shall grow into harmony with the divine, as we covenant with each other and with God. Thank you. Be seated. Sometimes I think that's the only reason I like to do these services is because I get to give you directions and you have to follow them. Stand up, be seated. That always has seemed kind of weird to me that I have to tell you to be seated or else everybody just stands there. So it's New Year's Day and you came here for an uplifting service. Well, you may have noticed that as you came into the sanctuary, there was a tombstone on the wall behind me. And so Happy New Year. What you see on the wall behind me now is a little bit more upbeat picture. It's the two-headed Roman god Janus. January is named for him. Janus is the god of beginnings and endings, gates, transitions, and doorways. He is often depicted as here, with one old face and one young. Guess which face I represent? This is the second time in my years at Heritage that I have been given the honor of leading a New Year's Day service. And this time, I'm old. Now, about that tombstone that you saw, that could be mine, except I'll be buried at Heritage Acres where standing stones are not allowed. But the words will be on a flat stone, and my wife Eleanor knows that. Anybody who gets emails from me knows that those words are my signature block on my emails. Sometimes the lights are shining on me, other times I can barely see. Lately it occurs to me what a long, strange trip it's been. The words are from the Grateful Dead song Truckin', which was released in 1970 when I was 18. I love the song and still know all the lyrics, of which there are a whole bunch. But I had no idea at that time what those words would come to mean to me. Even at 18, I was struggling with depression. I was pretty smart and hardworking, so I was able to be successful at many things in school and life. Every time I thought I was on my way to some higher level, depression would hit me and I would come crashing down, failing, losing jobs, losing status. This happened several times in my life until 2003, when I had a total breakdown, 2 weeks before I was scheduled to lead a service in this sanctuary. Bill had to cover for me. Then for the first time, I admitted to myself that I needed help. This was not something I was going to deal with by myself. I saw a psychiatrist, got medication, did meditation, and started on a different path. It's then, I think, that I realized that those old lyrics really had defined my life. Sometimes the lights were shining on me, other times I could barely see. Now it's 20 years after that breakdown. and I'm 70 years old. How did I make it? Well, the most important reason is sitting right there. Eleanor Lamb, my best friend ever since I was that 18-year-old boy. But I have lots of other friends to support me, many of them here today, and many are old friends.
For today's reading, I'd like to share with you a poem I wrote titled Old Friend. We honored our Catholic heritage with picnics in cemeteries on All Souls Days, sang Hair at the top of our lungs, driving across the bridge, wedged the little blue table we found into your hatchback. I eat on it to this day. The Chinese lantern tree you planted in my front yard rains gold, blossoms in June, feeds hundreds of honeybees. Every year, my flower beds are full, sprouts of your tree's seedlings.
Old friends, old friends, sat on a park bench like bookends, the newspaper blown through the grass falls on the round toes of the high shoes of the old friend. Old friends, winter companions, the old men, lost in their overcoats, waiting for the sun. The sounds of the city sifting through trees settles like dust on the shoulders of the old. Can you imagine us years from today, sharing a park bench quietly? How terribly strange to be 70. Old friends, memory brushes the same years, silently sharing the same fear. Time it was, and what a time it was, a time of innocence, a time of confidences. Long ago it must be, I have a photograph. Preserve your memories, they're all that's left you.
Like I said, if you came here for an uplifting service, maybe it'll get that way as we go along. 70. So why does being 70 matter a lot to me? Well, first, because I'm a Bible nerd. I used to read the Bible for fun, not for religion, before I was even into my teens. Now, let it be known for anyone new to our faith who may be watching that Bible readings are not usually part of a UU service. They can be. They are part of the many sources we draw on. So Psalm 90, verse 10, and I'm reading from the Common Jewish Bible translation, says, "The span of our life is 70 years, or if we are strong, 80. Yet at best, it is toil and sorrow, over in a minute, and then we are gone." So I have used up my allotted years. I'm living on borrowed time, and I am not very strong. The second significance of 70 was planted in my head 2 years before Long Strange Trip was. I was 16, sitting in a room listening with some friends to the new Simon and Garfunkel album, Bookends. And I heard Old Friends for the first time. How terribly strange to be 70. Several of the friends who were in that room are still my friends today, including Ellie. And we are all now 70. That is terribly strange. Another reason 70 is significant for me, though, is because I never thought I would make it this far. So when I turned 70 last May, I looked around and said, how terribly strange. But I'm still here. And now I plan to be here for a good while longer. Thanks in large part to old friends, the ones sitting here and on Zoom, and the others who know who they are. To you all, I can't think of anything better to say than the last words of Barb's wonderful, wonderful poem. "My flower beds are full, sprouts of your tree's seedlings." My friends have given me so much. So I've said I plan to be around a little. Now I'm going off book because I decided not to end it all kind of maudlin before I moved to something else. So I wanted to say something uplifting. Why am I planning to be around a while longer? Because I've discovered that I like the world, and I like where it seems to be going. I have a favorite author I often talk about. Robert Wright is his name, and he wrote a book called Non-Zero, which I've always recommended to people. He goes through the history of civilization from its earliest beginnings to today. And he says you've had wars and disasters and genocides and horrible things, but you've also had great advances. And if you look at the whole history from the long view, you see it looks like, kind of like the stock market. You start here with tribe against tribe, small band against small band, and you see more and more people gathering together as one, and then they fall back, and then they come up a little bit more, and they get into larger gatherings of community, but they're still fighting other gatherings of community, and they get more and more together, and it keeps going back down, but it always comes back up. Now, I don't know what you may consider us to now be in. Maybe we're in a little bit of a trough. But I see what Robert Wright saw is there is a finger pointing upward. I'm not saying it's God, and not saying it may be just evolution, and that's what I tend to believe it is. But evolution is a finger pointing upward towards more togetherness, more people included in the group that are us instead of them. And maybe one day that'll be humanity. So that's why I'm happy with what I see today. I'm also happy for all my friends here. I'll have a little bit more to say about the past in a bit. Let's talk for a minute about the future, start our discussion there. Now, I do not see any children in the sanctuary, which is not unexpected on New Year's Day. If there are any children on Zoom, watching in your pajamas over a brunch, I'd like you to talk to your parents a minute about what you, at your age, whatever that may be, think's going to happen. What can you imagine is going to happen in the future for people your age? What's it going to look like? What are you hoping will happen? What do you think's going to happen? What's going to be there? And parents, you can tell your kids what you think too. But we only have one person who doesn't like to be classified as a child in the sanctuary with us right now, so come on up, Liberty. Come on up. Liberty, tell us.
Tell us what? Oh,
What
yeah.
you think is on the horizon for your age group?
Well, I mean, everything's going to get a lot more expensive, but there will be more job opportunities with social media and the way that people can start their own businesses. More people have opportunities to do what they really like. And for education purposes, there are more ways for people to get education and to be able to get to the careers that they want to be in. I think science is really gonna evolve a lot, more technology, more just new discoveries of things, especially with space. There's been a lot of space things and cars and stuff like that, yeah. I don't know.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And we'll hear from a couple other generations before we're done. Liberty's 14 now, by the way, which is another significant number for a reason I'll tell you later. But now let's step back from the past and the future and talk about the present. Now is the time that we recognize the joys and concerns that are happening right now in the lives of our congregation. If you're on Zoom, the chat link will be opened so you can type in your joy or concern. If you're in the sanctuary, please line up on either side of either of the side aisles. Come forward when it's your turn and take the microphone from the previous person. Barb will light a candle for each joy or concern that is expressed. So you can line up now if you have a joy or concern. I would like to light the first candle today. We light one final candle for the joys and concerns that are too tender to express but are held in our hearts. Thank you.
And I am going to light all the candles. Sure, many, many blessings. Even sometimes when we can't see the blessings, they are there. And may we always remember that. Speaking of blessings, We share our abundance as a congregation by donating our weekly offering to an organization whose mission is in keeping with the values we hold dear as a church community. This week's offerings will go to Radical Joy for Hard Times, an organization dedicated to helping people find reconciliation within through the creation of acts of beauty that bring meaning and value to beloved places that have been damaged by environmental degradation, war, or other human or natural acts. In these troubled times, finding beauty are essential acts of survival, according to founder Trevi Johnson. The way to survive is to keep zealously grabbing and giving as much beauty as we can, says Trevi. This is especially important in times of sadness and places of ugliness. Radical Joy for Hard Time functions as a hub, connecting people with places and other organizations, providing training and encouragement for them to go out and create their own projects to bring beauty to a damaged world. It facilitates these practices primarily through its international global earth exchange, where people gather in small groups around the world to create an act of beauty in a wounded place. Such actions are both an acknowledgement of the damage done and an expression of gratitude for the gifts such places have given us. Taking care of the places where we live can be considered an essential act of survival in the future. Again, as Trevi says, by listening to the land and to one another, we discover a new sense of belonging. We gain courage to go through hard times. We see that it is always possible to give beauty and kindness. We recognize that all places, like all people, have inherent value. We discover that although we may disagree with our neighbors about some things, we share a deep and abiding love of place. We understand that we are all connected in the common ground beneath our hearts. We will now take the morning offering, and while the plate is being passed, please join Ellie Lamb in singing an uplifting song about the future. Keep on moving forward.
Are we singing it in there? Okay. Do I have to get this close? How close do I have to get? That far? All right, this is Emma's Revolution. You may have heard this. Sing along, please. These guys are going to sing with me. Okay. Gonna keep on moving forward. Keep on moving forward. Keep on moving forward. Never turning back. Never turning back. Gonna keep on walking proudly. Keep on walking proudly. Keep on walking proudly. Never turning back. Never turning back. Gonna keep on singing loudly. Keep on singing loudly.
A little bit more about the past, then we'll go into the future. While I was living my roller coaster life, the world around me was changing constantly. That was a long, strange trip. How many people here had a black and white television when they were a kid? Yeah. How many didn't have a television when they were a young kid? I'm in there. How many used a party line for a phone? Yep. Yeah. When I was a preschooler, we lived in an apartment where we shared a single phone line and a bathroom with the neighbors in the other apartments on the floor. Computers were a military secret. We had a black and white TV with 3 channels and no car. Then in a blink of an eye, we saw moon landings, peace movements, the Ford Mustang, civil rights, human rights, women's rights, assassinations, one war, another war, a Cold War, freedom, subjugation, recognition of rights, denial of rights, consumerism, alliances, advances, more wars, quantum physics, rovers on Mars, massive computers in the palm of our hands, and New Age crystals. And that doesn't even get us all the way up to the present. I was planning at this point to digest all that stuff and tell you what the future looks like. But I realized I don't have a clue, except that I have hope. As I told you before, there is a finger pointing upwards. I'll leave it to someone who will see a lot more of that future, Finn Palmer, to tell you what the future may be like. Now, Finn is 18, the same age I was when I first heard trucking. And I got to know him well when he was 14. Told you that'd be a significant number again. When he was in my religious education class, building bridges, and we went to other churches all around the community to find out what other religions were thinking. And I believe that struck a chord with Finn, and it certainly gave me a friend that's going to outlast me, which is a nice thing to have. But before Finn talks, let's enjoy the song that Finn picked, Bummerland by AJR.
Bummerland, here I am. Beneath my summer plans. Bummerland, give it you. 'Cause you're only going up from here. This month, I got 7 haircuts. And now my hair is all gone. It's sad, but I've been alone for too long, so I keep getting haircuts. It's my all-time low, and I just can't wait. 'Cause the quicker I'm there, is the quicker I'll see. Bummerland, here I am. You, 'cause you're only going up from here. Bummerland, here I am. And it makes my summer plans. Bummerland, sorry dear, but you're only going up from here. My friends always pay for my drinks. I can't afford no nice things. But I hope my bank account gets so low, even zero. So next year, when I buy that first beer, I'll be a goddamn hero. It's my all-time low, and I just can't wait. 'cause the quicker I'll stay. Family, here I am, and it makes my summer plans. Family, sorry dear, you're only going out for me. Bye.
We ready? One moment. All right, we're good. The song we just listened to, Bummerland, is a song that follows the journey of a young man through a particularly rough summer in his life. A life lived in a world today where we're lonely enough to get 7 haircuts just to talk to someone. This young man represents us, a younger generation facing some of the most unique problems seen in the last 2 centuries. Pandemics across a global scale, conflicts in Ukraine that are threatening big problems. Rapidly rising inflation that might not go down, just to name a few. In the song, the man is very self-aware of his situation and can accept it in a very humorous way. He knows that he's flat broke, and when he can buy a round of drinks for his friends, he'll be deemed a hero. That's what I love about my generation, my peers, my people. I love our resilience, the ability to bounce back from anything, to take one on the chin like a professional boxer and still deliver massive left and right hooks, to fight adversity, to save the planet, to keep fighting for what's right, to ask me what it's like to be 18, connected, virtually and physically. Social media platforms have fostered the largest communities of like-minded people in history. However, this does have its downsides. Groupthink can lead to polarization and can be a dangerous thing. But the amount of interconnectedness and community that has been brought since the advent of the internet far outweighs any drawbacks. My outlook on the future is one where the people who are revolutionizing our society as young adults, in spite of all the bad that's out there, who are making a world a more loving and caring place by fostering empathy for others and creating spaces for all, no matter their race, gender, class, or religion, that they will continue to walk the path of righteousness and find themselves the perfect harmony with one another, to create love around the globe and to challenge adversity, to protect the less fortunate, all to create a brighter future, tomorrow and forever. The future is bright, so don't stare for too long. You'll hurt your eyes.
One last generation to hear from, and that's my 31, 32? 33. 33-year-old son who, when he heard the theme of this, says, I got a song. Here's Ed.
Well, you asked me to pick a happy song, and then I ended up picking a song about death, too. So. What a beautiful face I have found in this place that is circling all around the sun. What a beautiful dream, like a flash on the screen in a blink of an eye and be gone from me. Soft and sweet, let me hold it close and keep with me. And one day we will die, and our ashes will fly from the aeroplane over the sea. But for now we are young, let us play in the sun and count every beautiful thing we can see. Love to be in the arms of all I'm keeping here with me. What a curious life we have found here tonight. There is music that sounds in the streets. There are lights in the clouds and a ghost all around. Hear her voice as it's rolling and ringing through me. Soft and sweet, how the notes all bend and reach above the trees. Oh, how I remembered you, how I would push my fingers through your mouth to make those muscles move, make a voice so smooth and sweet. Now we keep where we don't know our secrets, sleep in winter clothes with one you loved so long ago. Now you don't even know your name. What a beautiful face I have found in this place that is circling all around the sun. When we meet on a cloud, I'll be laughing out loud. I'll be laughing at everyone I see. Can't believe how strange it is to be anything at all.
So while we're young, let us play in the sun. Someday we'll meet on a cloud. Well, we started out with How Terribly Strange to Be 70, and we ended with Ed singing, Can't Believe How Strange It Is to Be Anything at All. And it is strange. It's strange and wonderful. What a long, strange trip it's been. Let's keep on moving forward. Please join hands for our benediction. Circle won't extend that far this morning. You could all walk back there. Yeah, can we walk back there all connected? That's the question. May the Spirit of life. May the Spirit of life. That each of us possesses. That each of us possesses. Flow from one to the other. Flow from one to the other. May it stay with us. May it stay with us. And bring us peace and harmony. And bring us peace and harmony. Until we meet again.
Trucking, got my chips cashed in, keep trucking like the Doodah Man. Together, more or less in line, just keep trucking on.